What's going on, you bunch of heathens? We're back with another episode from Fascinating Horror. And yeah, I just love them. And honestly, the title gripped me pretty easily. It's called Told Not to Evacuate: The Sinking of the Seawall. Make sure you guys check out the original. Let's jump in.
On the 16th of April 2014, passengers on board
the so this wasn't too long ago.
Sewol awoke with a start. The vessel was leaning very distinctly to one side, a list that, as the minutes ticked by, only grew more severe. Worried, passengers sought help or advice, but there was none to be found. Nothing except a recorded announcement over the ship's public address system instructing them to remain where they were.
Miss me with that bullshit.
Did exactly this.
Why?
In many cases, this was the worst possible thing they could have been advised.
Is it because I'm just like naturally, what would you call it? Distrustful of. Is it because I'm like naturally distrustful of people to where I wouldn't do that? I would not sit there. Or what? Because I would not sit. If it's leaning that as badly as that, I'm not just going to sit there. I don't care what the thing is saying. I don't fucking trust it.
Advised to do. The Sewol was launched in Japan in 1994 as the Namenui, a ferry designed to accommodate passengers, vehicles, and a small amount of cargo. For nearly 2 decades, it operated without any major accidents. By the time it was sold to the South Korean Chonghaejin Marine Company.
Oh, and it was renamed. Isn't that considered bad luck in naval circles? To be fair, there's a lot of, for sailing, there's a lot of bad luck rumors. Like, supposedly it was bad luck to bring a female on board. It was also bad luck if the bottle doesn't break. Like, but yeah, I thought renaming the vehicle, your ship, was very bad luck.
It was in need of some repairs and cosmetic improvements after 18 years of use, but was still in good working order. The new owners spent a year.
Weirdly enough, ships actually last quite a long time.
Refurbishing the vessel.
Especially if you take care of them.
As well as updating interiors and making numerous small repairs, they added a significant number of extra passenger cabins on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th deck. The amount of cargo and passengers she could carry were both increased. All of these changes increased the weight of the ship.
Well, yeah,
and notably, most of this extra weight was to be found on the uppermost parts of the ship. To ensure that the Sewol remained balanced when in use, limits were set on the amount of cargo she could carry and the number of passengers.
Let me guess, it was
the amount of ballast, that is,
ignored.
Water stored in tanks low down on the ship to lower its center of gravity and keep it upright, was increased to counteract the added weight above.
Yeah, but overall, it's just, that's so much fucking weight. Like, you added weight from the improvements and the extra room or whatnot, but then you're also having to add more weight, so it's going to see even lower. Yeah, that's not good. It's not good at all. And then add on to that, yeah, I'm already calling it now because it's a disaster. I'm willing to bet they ignore safety regs.
With these precautions in place, the refurbished ship passed all necessary safety inspections carried out by the Korean Register of Shipping. Declared safe, the ferry entered service on the 15th of March 2013. She would traverse a route between the port city of Incheon to Jeju Island 3 times a week. This crossing took just over 13 hours to complete, and so...
Wait, so you're telling me that the ship only lasted a year before it sank?
Overnight sailings were the norm. On the 15th of April 2014, the Sewol's regular departure was delayed by fog, resulting in her leaving port at 9 p.m., about 3 hours later than intended. The 476 passengers and crew on board were comfortable enough during the delay. Each passenger had been assigned a simple but comfortable cabin or bunk, and were able to move freely around the vessel. The Sewol was one of the largest ferries in operation in South Korea at the time. Travellers could dine in the onboard restaurant, take in the view from the deck, shop in a small convenience store, or pass the time in a karaoke room. Approximately 250 of the passengers were students on a field trip from Danwon High School, situated just outside of Incheon.
Wait. Is this the fucking story? Sorry. Is this the fucking story of where South Korea denies didn't want the US's help? Is this that story?
Talking with friends or on their phones. Cell service would be available throughout most of the trip, as the ferry would remain relatively close to the coast. Later in the evening, once the ship departed, passengers were entertained by a small fireworks display arranged on an upper deck before turning in for the night. By 8:40 a.m. the next morning, many passengers were already awake, anticipating their arrival at Jeju Island in just a few hours. Breakfast was being served in the onboard restaurant, and students were getting dressed and ready for the day ahead. At 8:48 a.m., however, the ship made an unusually sharp turn. The turn was so abrupt that it caused the vessel to take on a list to port.
Oh god.
Cargo in the lower parts of the ship slid along the now sloping deck, accumulating on the port side of the ship.
Wait, they weren't, like,
still further.
Strapped or whatever?
Passengers throughout the ship were alarmed by the sudden tilt.
I would be too!
Within minutes, announcements were made telling them to stay calm, stay where they were, put on life jackets, and await further instructions. They duly did so. The recorded message repeated as they waited, and it's just the list of the ship became more and more pronounced.
Oh, that's so bad.
The side door leading into the cargo bay was now submerged, allowing water to flow in, adding further weight to one side of the ship and causing the list to accelerate. The Sewol was now beyond the point of being able to right itself. Nothing anyone could now do would prevent it from capsizing. In passenger cabins, however, the instructions still repeated.
I don't know why. I didn't think that there'd be actual fucking... I said it in the last one, I think, with the Concordia. It is... I don't think of ships sinking. I think of the older ones. Older stories. I don't actively think of, oh shit, this happened in 2014. There were phone cameras. You were able to... There are photos of this. Like that... I don't think about that.
Students, many of whom had always been told by parents and teachers to follow instructions in an emergency, did so, although they debated fiercely whether staying put was the right thing to do. Some passengers did ignore the announcement and make their way to the upper decks.
Oh
the ferry continued to list. A number of small boats, including nearby fishing vessels, had converged on the scene. They would soon be joined by several Coast Guard rescue boats. Small, maneuverable rescue craft approached the floundering ferry, and announcements were made over loudspeaker, encouraging passengers gathered on the side of the Sewol to abandon ship.
But what about everyone else?
Did so, jumping into the cold water and swimming through the waves to be picked up by rescuers. Those who had followed instructions and
this is
remained below
insane.
decks, however, were now trapped. Even though rescuers had arrived, the ship
more
was
fucking
now
photos?
completely capsized, with corridors and cabins rapidly filling with water. The window of time during which they could have made their way out had passed. Some passengers had time to realize their situation and send last, desperate messages using their cell phones.
Oh, fuck me. You're gonna make me fucking cry, bro. Like, what the fuck? That's so fucking sad. What the fuck?
The very last of these messages was sent at 10:17 a.m. After this point, there was no further
I might not be able to say it in I'm gonna fucking cry. This is sad as shit.
That day, the ship was completely submerged, leaving little hope for survival. Despite this, some media outlets began reporting that everyone on board the Sewol had been rescued.
Fuck you!
This was not in any way true. 304 of the 476 people who had been on board the ferry had died in the sinking.
That's
8
so
out of every
fucking
10
many!
victims of the disaster were children.
Oh my god.
In the
Oh, so 80%. Hold up. What's the fucking math on that?
70s, this was not in any way true.
Let me hear this again.
304 of the 476 people who had been on board the ferry had died in the sinking. 8 out of every 10 victims of the disaster were children.
243.
In the days that followed the
200,
sinking, a
or
massive
more than
rescue
likely
operation
244 because it's a decimal. 244 children died.
was put into effect, in the hope that there might be some survivors trapped in an air pocket in the overturned ship.
Like, that's
This
too
not
many.
to be the case. And further to the already
no.
insurmountable death toll, several more people died during the rescue and recovery effort.
Wait, really?
A naval officer died of an injury received during his work, and 2 of the 500 divers who assisted with the operation got into difficulty and passed away. Further,
That sucks.
a helicopter returning from the wreck site crashed, killing 5 people.
Holy
In
shit!
total, then, a further 8 deaths were added to the toll from the sinking itself.
It's
In the
so
aftermath of this
fucking
disaster,
bad.
An investigation was launched to determine its cause. Over the course of several months, details emerged both about the Sewol and about the conduct of the rescue. It appeared that the Sewol had been significantly less stable than she should have been. The weight of unsecured cargo on board had exceeded the limit that had been set after her refurbishment.
I fucking called it. I fucking called it. They were going to fucking do that. I fucking called it and said that they were going to ignore safety regs.
Likewise, the amount of ballast had been less than the minimum stipulated,
Why?
with some ballast tanks emptied in order to make more space for cargo.
Oh, of course.
It also appeared that extra weight in the form of heavy marble fixtures and fittings had been added to some passenger decks after the ferry had been inspected. At least one
fuck's
regular
sake.
captain of the Sewol had noted that the ship was somewhat unstable, but had believed that this was due to the removal of a side ramp, not due to the excess weight and lack of ballast.
Wait, what?
Crew training
A side ramp? You believe it's because of a side ramp, not all the extra weight, and you don't have the counterweight unnecessary. Not even for just like the standard weight that you now have, the extra. I can't.
for emergencies had been minimal at the Chonghaejin Marine Company, with 1 year's budget for safety certification being just 2.6 thousand Korean won.
That's
the
not a lot.
equivalent of about $2 US. Ferry's unbalanced condition
Wait, I'm sorry. Back up.
for safety certification at the Chonghaejin Marine Company, with 1 year's budget for safety certification being just 2.6 thousand Korean won.
I'm sorry. An entire year's budget for safety certification?
Budget for safety certification.
For a budget, a full year, $2. That's so fucking stupid. If I remember correctly, I think this is the one where the US offered help and they denied it.
Being just
I believe.
2.6 thousand Korean won, the equivalent of about $2 US. Ferry's unbalanced condition was compounded by the unusually sharp turn it had taken on the morning of the sinking, a turn that may have been the result of a miscommunication.
Of course.
At the time had been a third mate and a helmsman. The third mate would issue orders to the helmsman, and the helmsman would turn the actual wheel controlling the vessel.
Okay.
The listing began
Let's hear it.
following a standard 5-degree turn ordered by the third mate and carried out by the helmsman. When this caused the ship to begin listing, the third mate ordered the helmsman to turn the wheel in the opposite direction.
Let me guess.
The helmsman had already instinctively begun to reverse the turn.
Oh.
Thus, when they followed this order and turned the wheel in the opposite direction, they turned it back the other way.
It continued to increase the list.
Turn
oh my fucking god.
exacerbating the list. Further to this, once the sinking began, decisive action was not taken.
No, it wasn't,
The
obviously.
bridge crew were unable to work the public address system.
Wait,
meaning that
why?
no orders could be given to passengers.
Why were they unable to? What?
Instead, a looping recorded message ordering them to stay put was played.
Why?
This message had been activated by a communications officer who was not, at the time, well informed about the nature of the emergency.
Oh my fucking god. Honest, nothing would have been better than what you did. You actively fucking hurt the effort. You got so many people
He was worried
killed.
that passenger movements could further destabilize the already listing ship,
Do you know that for certain, homie?
and therefore believed that ordering passengers to stay put was a sensible course of action.
Well, it obviously
The
fucking
bridge
wasn't.
crew had called for help, but had not been the first to report the Sewol's distress. One of the Dan-won high school students did so by calling the South Korean emergency number 119. This action by a passenger preceded the issuance of a distress call by crew by several minutes. Once the rescue
Hats
was
off to
underway,
him.
there was significant confusion.
But what sucks is, I'm willing to bet that fucking student died. I'm willing to bet that.
Rescue ships, lifeboat stations, and helicopters were not in direct communication. Crew on board the Sewol communicated via their company's office rather than directly with the Coast Guard in some cases,
Why?
and the chain of command was frequently uncertain.
For
The
fuck's
Coast Guard, for
sake.
example, deferred to the judgment of the captain of the Sewol with regards to whether or not to begin an evacuation. The captain believed that the list of the ship made an evacuation impossible, and so delayed ordering one.
Go fuck
The Coast
yourself.
Guard
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. I hope you're either in jail or not around to bother the gene pool anymore.
failed to overrule him. On top of this, foreign assistance was refused.
Yes,
during the
I was
disaster,
right.
At a time when it may have made a difference to the outcome.
Yes, I was right. U.S. personnel heard it and offered their assistance, and they fucking told them no. I was correct in hearing about this.
Help from the US Navy and from the Japanese Coast Guard was turned down when it was offered in the immediate aftermath of the sinking.
I didn't even hear about the Japanese, but this makes me so much more fucking
The
pissed.
handling of the disaster was the subject of much anger from the general population. Anger that was only magnified by evidence that the government wished to control public sentiment about the disaster.
For
For
fuck's
example,
sake.
it was found that artists who created memorial artworks for those who had died were secretly barred from receiving government grants.
I'm sorry,
Public
what?
anger over the response of
South Korea, what the fuck are you doing? The fuck do you mean?
eventually resulted in the resignation of the South Korean Prime Minister
Good.
and the dissolution of the Korean Coast Guard, with their responsibilities passed to other agencies. Several senior crew members who had been in command on the Sewol that day were given lengthy prison sentences.
Good.
The captain, who had escaped the ferry even while the recorded message instructing passengers to remain in their cabins
You little fucking rat bastard.
continued playing, was ultimately sentenced to life in prison.
Good. Fuck that.
Many questions
Fuck
remain
him.
around the sinking of the Sewol. The wreckage of the ferry remains in storage in a harbour in the port of Mokpo. Memorials to the many young lives lost are held every year.
Good.
Even a decade on from one of the worst ferry disasters in South Korea's history, a sense of loss and betrayal is still keenly felt.
I understand why. They were fucking betrayed. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh my god. That was fascinating horror. I hate stories where help could be rendered, but they're fucking denied for whatever reason. I hate those kinds of stories. They piss me off. Like, they really fucking do. Make sure you guys check out the original. Like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.